Hello, Nomads, and welcome to episode 21? Is it 21?
21.
Right? That's right.
21.
21.
Yes.
Yeah, it feels so weird.
We made it.
Yeah, it's cool being in the 20s.
We're drinking age now.
I'm drinking, but Eric just told us before recording that he is not drinking. He has no alcohol in his house.
No alcohol. Like I might have a bottle of Fireball hidden somewhere, but I'm not gonna go look for it.
He's not that person that will dig it up.
I'm not that desperate.
But this is the Nomads of Fantasy podcast. My name is Brandon, and yeah, I'm talking to who am I talking to? Eric.
Why don't we just wait here for a little while, see what happens?
Oh, nice. Dave.
Whoa. Hey, how are we doing today?
Oh, you got nothing? That's not a quote from the movie.
That isn't a quote.
I don't
I'm just
think that's a
asking. I'm
quote
just
from the
asking.
movie.
How are we doing today?
I'm feeling pretty good, but Dave,
All
you were you at the bar?
I'm feeling good.
earlier?
Yeah, I was out. I was dibbling and dabbling tonight. So
Dibbling.
coming in hot.
Cutting loose. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about The Thing. It's a movie that came out in 1982. It's a John Carpenter movie. This is a pretty popular movie, and we're at the end of September here almost. We're getting ready for Halloween, and Dave kind of said like this is a good movie to kind of get you in that mood because it's not full on scary, right, Dave?
Well, I'd never seen it before. It was just one of those.
Wait, what? You've never seen
I think
this?
any of us have seen it. Or Brandon have you
was the
seen
only
it?
one that saw it. So I was.
Okay.
It was one of those ones that I've heard of before, but I'd never really seen, and I don't really dig into horror movies. So,
dude, that is so cool.
I enjoyed this one. It was good.
Yep, I've never seen it either.
But we'll get into that.
Okay. Well, yeah. All right. Well, then here we go. So, I'm hoping that everybody has seen this movie by the time they listen to this recording because we're going to get into spoiled territory. We're going to be talking about The Thing, but not only The Thing, the movie from 1982, but there's a version of it from the 50s. There's a version that came out in 2011, and it's actually based off of a novella that came out in 1930 something.
1938, 34.
So it's an old story, and it's a cool sci-fi thriller, but the 80s version of it, the Thing that John Carpenter did it's just so cool for many, and we'll get into why it's awesome. But before we do that, why don't we catch up? So Eric, I got nothing really to talk about other than I finished the last episode of The Terror, and it was really good, and it's a really good show. It's really cool. I really want everybody to see that show. I'd love you guys to see it so we can talk about it. But it's, I don't know. I don't want to talk anything else about it. Just go into it if you're in the mood. It's kind of like The Thing where it's more of a thriller and there's only a couple kind of jump scares, I guess. But that's about all I'll say on that. But yeah, Eric, what have you been up to?
Well, first of all, I have a bone to pick really quick. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but we were talking about I think it was 2 episodes back, episode 19. We were talking about video games. Is it possible to make a good video game or a good movie based off of a video game? And in that episode, I mentioned the Super Mario Brothers animated movie.
Oh no!
That is being created by Illumination. And just today, they announced the voice cast of that movie.
Okay.
Ooh. I've not heard any of this.
You haven't heard? Neither of you have heard this? This is great. Okay.
No.
All right. This will be a trivia then, or not even like a guessing game here. So just throw out a guess for who you think is voicing Mario in the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Nolan North.
John Leguizamo. Because he played Luigi in the movie.
Well, both of you are incorrect. The correct answer should be Charles Martinet, but unfortunately, it is not. The
Rock.
Oh, that is a very good guess. That's the right track for sure. The correct answer is Chris Pratt.
Huh?
How's that hit you?
That's a little weird. I'm curious to hear his like stereotypical Italian plumber accent.
Yeah,
I'd like to hear a little bit more of that before I make judgment. But
I'm not feeling it. There is some other people in this cast I am feeling though. Okay.
Let
me hit you with this. I don't know. Anna Taylor-Joy. I don't know if you guys know who that is. That's going to be Peach.
No.
Charlie Day from Always Sunny. He's going to be
Charlie.
Luigi.
Love Charlie.
Luigi.
All right, great.
Okay.
That's good. I like it.
This one's a banger. Jack Black as Bowser.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I love Jack Black.
I'm getting on board with this.
That's weird. All right, this is interesting.
I'm
not a
Keegan Michael Key as Toad.
Okay.
That's fucking cool.
God.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Seth Rogen is gonna be Donkey Kong in the Mario movie.
Okay. I think I'm getting fully on board with this.
Fred Armisen is gonna be Cranky Kong.
Okay, cool.
And then there's a couple other people I don't know, but those were the major ones.
Wow, that's some heat coming in for the Mario movie. Those are some name droppers right there.
Yep. I just thought I'd get that out there because that is hot news right now.
I'm curious to hear Chris Pratt's stereotypical plumber voice, but
after Heath Ledger played the Joker, I've just accepted anything that I wasn't expecting at this point when it comes to roles. And I'm open to Mario talking to some extent. I'm okay with there being another version of him out there. I'm open for it if it's done right. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I don't know if you're gonna pull this off, but if it was Pixar, I would have more faith. But this is Illumination, right?
Yep, Illumination.
Yeah. So
they did also say Charles Martinet would appear in some cameos, but they're kind of keeping them secrets. So at least he'll be in there.
Okay.
But I thought that was some interesting casting choices there.
I mean, you had my interest before, but now you have my attention.
All right.
That's where I'll go.
That's what I just wanted to get that out there. As far as games for me, I'm still on the Psychonauts train. I played that VR game, Rhombus of Ruin, and that game
how was it?
Really good. So a lot of times with VR, there's restrictions on, or the movement doesn't feel good. But in this game, it kind of makes sense because you're kind of bound to a chair and you're using your mental powers to move objects around the world. So you got all the powers that you have in the regular Psychonauts games, like your Psy Blast, your telekinesis, your pyrokinesis, all that stuff. And you use them in
good, though.
Really cool
that
ways
gets rid
to
of
solve puzzles.
That gets rid of the disorientation you get from when you move around in a VR game. That helps kind of get rid of that. That makes a lot of sense.
And the way they do the moving around the environment is how you have the clairvoyance ability in Psychonauts. You can go into other people's minds and switch around to the different characters throughout the environments, and they use the powers in really cool ways to solve the puzzles. So I mean, it was pretty short, took 2 hours to beat, but it was worth the playthrough if you're a Psychonauts fan and you have access to VR. I think I could be wrong, it might be exclusive to PlayStation VR, but that's where I played it. And it was really fucking good. I played another VR game called Gorn. I don't know if you guys have seen this one. It's a really dumb arena gladiator fighting game. You got these big dumb guys that you're wailing on with clubs and stuff. And it's really cartoonish violence and everything. It's really fun.
Are you swinging your arms and stuff like this, or are you just pressing buttons and stuff?
Yeah, you could use your fists. And then there's also weapons you can pick up, and you're just beating on these weird looking dudes. So I had fun with that for a minute. And then the other big one, I talked about it last episode, was Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I started playing that a bit on stream, and I love that game.
The artwork is so good.
That game is awesome.
It's a banger.
The animation and the artwork, sure. It's very attractive.
Yeah, and it holds up. It holds up really well. Because it was very controversial back in the day that this was a PlayStation game, and they made it in pixel art. They were, they kept it with pixel art form. Because back then in the 90s, everyone was they wanted 3D. So when this game came out and it was still 2D pixel based, people were freaking out. But then they actually played the game and realized it's a masterpiece.
Well,
so.
that's a tough thing. You go back to some of those early 3D games and they look like shit now.
Exactly.
But you can play a pixel game from back then and it looks, pixel art is pixel art. It looks fucking good.
holds up really well. And they do use some like 3D elements in the game in really smart ways, just like here and there. But yeah, I'm going to keep playing through that. And that's all I had.
Nice.
Dave, what do you got?
Let's see. I started watching Why the Last Man on Hulu. That is a pretty intense like adaptation of the graphic novel. I wasn't sure about some of the casting when I first saw like just the faces because they didn't match up with what they were in the book. But so far I'm 2 episodes in, and that is pretty fucking awesome so far. It follows the book pretty closely. Hits the main story beats. I guess I don't want to spoil anything too much, but shit escalates pretty quickly in that show. So it doesn't take long for, for things to start to escalate. But that one's pretty good so far. I think they're only 4 episodes in, so it's not like it's super deep into that show quite yet. That was about all I watched this week. And then playing, I've been in like we talked about Castlevania last week. I finished up Castlevania 3, which was way tougher than the first one. I did a lot of save scumming on my way through the end of that game. Felt like a dirtbag, but
you got to do it.
Whatever, you got to. Some of those old games are just you're just meant to bang your head against the wall until you learn all of the end bosses like moves and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of save scum my way.
It's really hard. I'm trying to not do that with Symphony of the Night. Like I'm trying to use the in-game save points, but sometimes
they have states in that.
The way I'm playing it, I have save states.
Okay,
but yeah, I'm trying to not like save scum and use save states because I just want to kind of experience it the way it's meant to be experienced. But some of the save points set you back really far. Like if you die, and like you lose all the items that you picked up and collected and all this stuff and all the charms and everything that you found. So that was tough to swallow when I died the first couple times.
Speaking of that, I was playing some Resident Evil 2. I was trying to finish that up. I was feeling in the Halloween-y mood. And
the remake?
Yes, the remake. And I was already about halfway through that. I was through like the police station part of it, and I was going into the sewers. And
you haven't finished that one yet?
No, I haven't played that one in a long time either. But the sewers, is an interesting bit. You go through bits and pieces here and there. But the thing with those games is you have the typewriter that you have to find in order to save. And I had done a good chunk of it, hit a typewriter, went and did a whole bunch of other side stuff, in the sewers. And then you end up, working your way to the laboratory. But like just as I was about to exit the sewers, I'm like, I got the last thing, I got the last key, I got all these stupid, chess pieces that you need for some reason.
Yeah, so dumb.
Some reason, the sewer system of Raccoon City
thing.
is like run by chess pieces and like fuse boxes, which makes absolutely no sense. Whatever. But no, I went and I hit the elevator button to go up to like back to the room to put in the chess pieces. And somehow I glitched outside of the geometry of the world. And I could not get back. Like I could still run around and do stuff, but I couldn't get back through the walls to get back into the world. So
that sucks.
At that point, I just said, fuck it. And I just paused it and I haven't come back to it yet, but I will have to finish that one up because I wanted to get into the Resident Evil mood again because we're going to be hitting Resident Evil 7 soon and hopefully playing that on stream and scaring the piss out of myself for the internet, but whatever. After that, this week I played, Halloween's coming up and the kid got into some costume quest. Ended up playing like a good chunk of the first one, and that one's a good game to play with your kids. It's got a real Halloween-y feel. You're going trick-or-treating from door to door, swapping out costumes, collecting pieces for more costumes and stuff like that. It's got like the timing-based combat in it, which is a little tough for kids that are younger, I guess I would say. So I have to do a lot of the combat, and then I have to let the kid do a lot of the wandering around the village and trick-or-treating and bullshit like that. But that one's kind of cool. it's on Game Pass, so it's good to just jump in and, run around with for a week or two until you get bored of it or whatever, until Halloween goes past and the game doesn't feel like you should be playing it anymore. And other than that, me and Brandon played a little bit of Fallout, ran around for a little while.
Yeah, we did.
Those fun.
Brandon, you booted up Fallout, eh?
Yeah. I've been having hard drive issues on my Xbox, so I had like 30 games that were in the update queue, and Brandon was like,
it was like, what, can you play this? No. Can you play this? No. How about this? No.
I felt bad. So
how about Fallout 76?
And that
yes,
that game is always updated on my console. My God. So yeah, we just ran around, and I was showing Brandon some of the ropes, and showing him how to set up his camp and that kind of crap. So that one, they just released a new season, and that
kind of sounds like the exact thing that I did with you, Dave.
I think it was
took me around.
Actually, but just kind of explaining some stuff to Brandon about how the cards work and how leveling works and some of that stuff, because it's not as crazy as like Elder Scrolls Online. Like that gets a little intense where you have to like buy bank slots and all sorts of shit like that.
I actually like it. I was enjoying it. Felt like a regular game.
Yeah,
that they would make. It didn't feel like this weird, like ESO is like like Elder Scrolls Online feels inferior to Skyrim, and it's like, but this was made after, and it doesn't play as good. And I didn't really care for Fallout 3 and 4 was like, okay. I didn't really give it a shot because I just didn't care for 3, and then. Yeah, I don't know. I'm actually kind of digging it, Dave. It's cool having a buddy there. I told you guys before, though, I love the idea how it's like trapped in like that look, that aesthetic. I love that aesthetic that they had. The art direction in that game is good, and the music's really good. It's like Skyrim music.
Yeah, so
I'm down to play it.
So you think you'll go back to it?
Oh, I'm up.
You think you will boot it up again,
I've stated that I would play this game on the podcast, actually, a few episodes back. I'll play. You guys just don't bring it up, but I'm down. Absolutely. If you guys want to stream it, we can stream it.
I'd hop in for a romp around Appalachia or whatever it is.
Yeah, and I mean, I played it the other night too, where I just like joined a random team, like a public team, and went and did just some like random public events and stuff like that. Had a good time. It was kind of chaotic and fun and crazy and all that kind of stuff. So. I mean, once you work your way up to like, level 30, level 50, then you start to get into like the, you have to have your, you got to have your build set and like, stuff like that. Where like, am I going to be a shotgun guy? Am I going to be an automatic rifle guy? That kind of shit. So, I mean, I'd love to take you guys in. They have made some drastic improvements since that game launched. So,
like the dog animations were fantastic in that.
Yeah, where their legs don't move and they just kind of like slide towards you, and like
Eric,
sometimes it happens.
This game,
sometimes
I can see why people are shit in this game though, because it's just, what are they doing? So I'm walking out of nowhere. This dog runs at me, or wolf, or whatever it was, running at me, and its legs are just not moving. So it's just like the static moving dog running at me and jumping at it. It would animate when it jumped at me, but when it was on the ground, and Dave saw it, and I'm like, okay, we both see this. That's stupid. And then we're walking up this hill for a quest, and then out of nowhere, this guy that I have to talk to, or whatever, this NPC or whatever it was, just boom from the sky, just lands right on.
That's pretty cool.
The ground, right in front of me.
It's that creation engine jank where like
okay.
I don't know. Bethesda took a single player engine and kind of wedged a multiplayer engine into it, kind of, and you can see the seam somewhere, some places. So
it seems in a weird way. It's like a digital seam.
It does happen. It's gotten better since launch. Well, I'll say that for sure, because
it didn't ruin it. It just made me laugh.
Army of T-posing super mutants walking at you, like that shit doesn't happen much anymore. But you still get some
the Bethesda jank.
Yeah, there's always a level of Bethesda jank, but that's about all I got into this week.
Oh, okay. I know I said I didn't do too much, but I forgot. I actually been dabbling in this one game. So Game Pass, like, I don't know, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, they just dumped all these games on us like, out of nowhere, and I'm like, okay. One of them was called The Artful Escape. Have either of you guys played it?
I
have not played it, but I've heard good things.
Heard a bit. Yeah.
Dude,
It
I don't
seems
know
like a game
how to
right up your alley.
explain. So it's one of those games where it's like Inside or something, where you could just go right or left, and you can jump and dodge things and stuff like that. But this game is more about kind of like Guitar Hero kind of approach to it. So you can go left, right, you can go up, down, you can talk to people and all that stuff. The artwork is fantastic, and the music is kind of cool. But the concept is like, I don't understand. He says he's a folk guitarist or whatever, but all he does is shred epic solos throughout the whole game. And if you hold down the shred button, the guitar, like the player will play the guitar, and the music makes the world around him come alive. And since he's constantly moving to the right, the world's moving really fast, and the art is really beautiful, and it's just kind of, you're just vegging out watching it and doing very minimal controls until you get to like a boss or whatever. Not a boss, but you got to perform to these. And I don't want to even talk about the story because it makes no fucking sense. You just got to enjoy the ride. But then it turns into this Guitar Hero, where it's like it'll say like Simon Says kind of approach, where like blue, yellow, red, LBRB, and you got to like mimic it, and then you kind of do solos together. It's all I can really say. Yeah, it's just play it. The intro is good, but it's not anything what you're gonna play. I mean, other than it's kind of like the simple mechanics going left and right and talking to people, but it goes from like, here you're on Earth to I'll just leave it at that. And it's just like, this game is weird, but the artwork, I can't stop playing it. I've played it over the 2 nights, and I'm probably gonna finish it next time I play it. But I just can't, like, where's this? What's the next? What's it gonna turn into? What am I doing? Oh my god! It's just, I can't. It's eye candy. You can't stop. It's just, you can't stop in the music. Yeah, it's so weird. It's so chill and relaxing. Definitely get intoxicated in some capacity, whatever your choice is. Do it. I highly recommend it and enjoy. Other than that, that was it. Yeah, that game was called The Artful Escape, which just dropped on Game Pass. So that's about it. All right, let's take a break, and then we'll talk about The Thing. All right, we're back, and holy shit, we are back with a good movie to talk about. It is, like I said earlier, it's getting to that season of the year, that time of the year where horror movies are kind of in, man, and the season's changing, and it's getting cooler out, and it's hard to watch a movie like The Thing in the summer. Because especially in Buffalo, you're like, I like snow, but fuck snow in the summer. I don't want to. Yeah. I don't want to see it in movies or anything like that. But now that it's late September, it's like, okay, we can dabble a little bit in this, and this is a good sci-fi thriller,
suspense.
A couple in the suspense thriller. I didn't.
Yeah, they can dip your feet into, but before we get too far into the movie, and I know we're excited to talk about it, we actually did a called out, hey, if you have anything you want to say about this movie. I didn't know Dave didn't see this movie. I knew Eric, but Dave didn't see this movie. So there's a lot of people who have, and they love, this is a lot of people's favorite horror movie, actually. So Eric, do you have just some of the things that people were saying about this movie, and then maybe we can touch on them later as we get into this?
Yeah. So you can follow us at Nomads of Fantasy on Twitter and Instagram. So on Twitter, we had our good friend Chris Logan. He said he watched it for the first time last year, and even with all the hype, it exceeded my expectations. Hot take, that reboot/sequel ain't good, and he's got that right. That ain't good at all. and we can talk about that later. I actually watched the 2011. It's actually a prequel to the 1982 version that we all watched. So I have some thoughts on that we can get into later.
Sure.
I'm curious how they do a prequel. That's okay.
Yeah, we can get into it. Andrew Williams says, so this Chris Logan actually tagged his friend Andrew Williams in, because I think this is one of his favorite movies. He says, it's a dense question, Chris, and it really requires me to dig down deep and think of the strengths of the movie in relation to its flaws and make sure all of those get conveyed accurately to make sure the message isn't misunderstood. It's easy for oh shit, it's fucking great. So basically he was running out of Twitter characters there on his tweet. So that was good. I like that.
Yes.
A couple other quick hits here. Keegan Bushy, one of your friends, Brandon. The original rules, Rob Botton's work is incredible, and the cast is stacked. This is another one from Brandon's Facebook. Hugh Wilson Jr., the Carpenter
it's my
version,
brother.
Did a great. Oh,
yeah, my older brother.
Shout out. The Carpenter version did a great job playing on suspense. It terrified by using the unknown. I think a lot of the modern movies could learn from it. You don't need gore and violence when the unknown is scarier. Very good point.
Yeah.
A couple from my Facebook as well. These are the last two. Reminder that the Thing video game on Xbox and PS2 is surprisingly good. I don't know if you guys have ever played that.
I've always wanted, and I
before.
forgot about it up until just about like an hour before recording. I'm like, oh my god, that's right. There's a game out there, and it's supposed to be pretty good.
It's actually a direct sequel to the 1982 version of the movie.
Okay.
That's cool.
Like this military team comes in and investigates all of the events that happened in the movie, and they actually find like in the game, you can find the audio log that MacReady is recording in that one scene in the movie, and you can listen to that. You find Child's dead body in the video game, so he died after the movie ended. And big spoiler for the end of the video game, turns out you get rescued by like this helicopter pilot at the end of the game, and you get like flown out of there. And guess who it is? MacReady flying the helicopter at the end.
Oh,
so that was
hanging out in the Antarctic.
Yep, that was a cool reveal at the end of that game. So MacReady's still alive. Childs is dead.
Fuck yeah,
that's canon.
That's canon.
Fuck yeah, MacReady's the best character of the whole game, the whole movie.
I think it's canon. I don't see why not. And then last one, from Steve Luzader. I hope I'm saying that right. Will it be clobbering time?
Wrong thing.
The Thing.
Wrong thing.
From Fantastic Four.
It's not clobbering time. Right. It's burning time.
It was a good one to end on.
No, I like it. Well, yeah, thanks, Eric, for reading some of those. Well, yeah, so we're going to talk about pretty much all that.
Let's get into it.
Eric, I usually give you this duty, so yeah, why don't you just walk us through, I guess, because the Thing is based off of a book. Well, just the story, whatever. Just sum it up for us real quick.
Yeah, I mean, the main overarching story you have this focuses on this research team in the Antarctic, and basically, well, and like, let's just talk about like the first scene of the movie, because I feel like it sets it up nicely. So basically, you have this helicopter chasing this dog, and this guy like shooting at this dog for some reason. Like, you don't know why.
I had a reason. I had an idea.
I forgot why. I totally forgot why. And you know what's funny? I saw this movie a long time ago, and I've seen it many times. I forgot some of the opening scene, I guess, but I did see the 1951 version or whatever the other night. So before refreshing myself on this 80 version, and I was like, totally threw me off a little bit that they're not really the same, because the 80s version is actually more similar to the book, and in the movie, in the 50s version, it doesn't start off with the dogs at all. That dog scene's not in this at all. And I was like, huh. So I was just totally thrown off, and I couldn't remember, why the hell is a guy in a helicopter shooting at this dog? Sorry to throw you off, but I was just like so thrown off in this scene. I was like, why is this? But I can imagine that's what a lot of people were like, yeah, no, I love it. I was able to capture that
I think
moment.
I think that's kind of the point of it. Because, like, well, even when the dog runs into the camp, like, they're all confused as to what the hell's going on, too. Like, why is this helicopter circling this camp? Why is this dog running around? And why are these crazy Norwegians?
Well, it was one of their dogs, too, which was the
So-
weird part. Like, the dog had gone far enough to go to the Norwegian camp or whatever, and then
Right.
made its way back. So that was a little weird, but
Yeah. So at this point, the characters in the movie don't know what's going on, and we also don't know what's going on. And then after that, I feel like it just shit goes down from there. It's revealed that that dog is actually like the first incarnation of the thing that we see in the movie, and he's kind of like infecting all the other dogs in the kennel. After that, like they kill it, and I don't know. We can just kind of get into it from here, because I feel like it's hard to explain.
It's a shape-shifting alien that's taking out people who happen to be mostly scientists, because they're on the South Pole doing research. But there's two groups in this movie. There's two groups. There's the Norwegians, which McCready keeps calling, what was it, like the Swiss?
the Swedes.
Yeah.
Swedes. I thought that was a pretty funny little ongoing joke for a little bit. But and then the Americans, right?
Mhm.
And I don't know, they're all just down there. It turns out that the Norwegians actually discover this alien ship in the ground. All right, also, just kind of go back in further. There's the thing that's... I gotta be careful when I say the thing. Everybody down there has access to using technology to communicate to the mainland. But the problem is that there is some kind of interference going on. In general, out of all versions, this is a common thing. It is nobody can communicate out, and that's a big deal. So now the ship is this alien ship, which apparently crashed like thousands of years ago.
100,000 years ago or something, they said.
Or whatever they said, right? Yeah, a long time ago. And if you see the 80s version, you see the ship, it kind of looks like it's spiraling out of control. I don't think it meant to go there. I think it crash landed. But anyways, it's interrupting with communications, and the Norwegian guys, they find the ship, and then they just off of away from the ship, they notice there's a body. They got either it crawled out and got frozen, or it got projected out, or whatever. But they dig it up, a big block of ice, and they bring it to their base, and this thing thaws, and when it does, it comes back to life. And it turns out this thing can actually freeze, and it's not an issue. So maybe it purposely landed there, but it starts taking people out. The way it does is one by one. It needs to be alone to take some time to kind of make its move, and then slowly mimic you, and it kind of pulls you in or whatever. I don't know. It's kind of weird how it takes people out, but it mimics something, and then it becomes pretty much a clone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's it. So the whole time these guys are just wondering. It's just you don't know who to trust, because if it clones somebody, you don't know if it's a real person or not. And that's the horror. That's the idea. It's not knowing. What's cool about the thing is that it is scary when you see its one form, but the idea that you just don't know who you can trust. And that's something that we all can relate to on any given time. You can always just, I don't know if I can, are you, whatever, back in like, when is this made? The 80s? So you had like communists, you're probably looking at like, are you a communist? You know, or whatever. And like today in 2021, you know, people are like, are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? Are you a Trumper? Are you everybody's just like, you don't know who around you in public is a what.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just
plays on that paranoia
and
fear.
Yeah, the human
everybody
paranoia.
has.
So I don't know. That's what makes this movie awesome. It does both so well.
But it felt more like a suspense movie to me rather than like a horror movie. Like it did have its horror moments at times, but more of it was like the suspense
some
of like
pretty grotesque body horror in there.
For 1982, like it did some fucking cool shit with like no CG. It's all animatronics and like practical effects and stuff like that. It did some really cool stuff. So
I rewound a couple scenes because I'm like, how are they doing this without CG? It's so good.
One scene, I know we're jumping around here, but that one scene specifically when I forgot which character it is, but the doc is checking him out and his like stomach opens
That's
up.
a famous scene.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so good.
That catches you off guard too, because you're all like, is he gonna die? Is he gonna die? And all of a sudden, like it's just like, nope, I'm the fucking alien.
Yep, his stomach just opens up and his doc's arms go in and chomped off.
When his head comes off and it like sprouts out legs and it's crawling away and stuff like that. Like I don't know if it's stop animation or if it's some sort of something like that. But for 1982, some of the stuff that they do is pretty freaking cool. So one thing I do want to mention though is the time that it came out in 1982. Apparently the movie wasn't very critically acclaimed. So in 1982, some of the movies that came out in that same month, Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan, Poltergeist, E.T. came out like just a couple weeks before it. So E.T. was a huge movie in the 80s. Grease came out a week before or 2 weeks before. And then Blade Runner came out on the same day as well. So
wow,
part of
sci-fi.
Part of the reason I think the critical acclaim wasn't there was like it was like I think it was like a tonal shift of like. You got all these like, happy movies, or E.T. was kind of like happy-go-lucky, Steven Spielberg movie. You got your sci-fi, Star Trek 2 and Blade Runner and stuff like that. And then The Thing came out and it was kind of like a whole different thing from what was coming out then. And it was rated R at the time too. So I don't know if that really had a big effect on it too. But for the time it came out, I mean, apparently there were some harsh words said by critics. We'll just say that
for this movie.
Well, yeah, Roger Ebert even said like this movie, like compared to like the original 1950 whatever version. Yeah. Like he said, there's no point in watching the 1982 version because it does everything the original version does, but worse. And I'm like,
that's
okay,
insane.
Roger Ebert.
Yeah,
that's insane. Wow,
that
is a bad
New York
review.
Times called it instant junk. I'm like, really? Like, I don't know. It seems like people weren't in that frame of mind.
Movies can
Roger
do that.
Ebert called it a great barf bag movie, and said that the men are just setups for attacks by the Thing. So it seems like people weren't in the frame of mind to see it.
It doesn't have like amazing acting. I don't say it doesn't have bad acting, but it's not like you're not gonna go around.
Don't you besmirch Kurt Russell? God damn.
He was actually I love Kurt Russell, dude. Don't you get me wrong.
Kurt Russell's fucking
he was like
good.
My movie dad.
He's just
growing
badass.
up. He was actually more chill though than you. He was so young in this movie. And I thought he doesn't do that yelling that he usually does in movies. And I thought he was actually more even keel. I mean, give this guy credit. He's a helicopter pilot, and he's the one that's grabbing the gun, flying around, zipping around, like, let's go investigate here and all that stuff. And he's also the kind of the guy that takes all the blood samples and leads that scene. And I thought, like,
that was a great fucking scene.
Oh, can we talk about that?
But he's
scene?
like he's a helicopter pilot. And how is he so smart that he knows to think like that? And he's surrounded by scientists.
I mean, while we're talking about the ages, though, John Carpenter made this movie when he was 34 as a director. Kurt Russell was 31. Wilford Brimley, 48. I mean, so like they were still pretty fresh.
You know that he's a huge fan of this story, right? He, if you watch like Halloween, if you watch his movies, the characters in his movies are watching the 1951 version of The Thing, The Thing from Another World.
Another World, that's what it is.
And yeah, if you watch those movies, you'll see that version's on the TV. And so Carpenter really wanted to do this movie. And if you know how he produced Halloween with no budget, he's one of the legendary directors, I think, and I think he's worthy of his accolades, and good for him. This is a great movie, and it's crazy to hear that it got. But Blade Runner, same thing happened, right? I mean, come on, it's a Ridley Scott movie.
Yep, both movies are kind of cult hits. Like when they first came out, they were kind of critically panned and didn't really get great reception. But recently, they've both of these movies, I feel like, have become cult hits.
You wanted to talk about that scene, Eric? Though.
Oh yeah, the blood scene.
Yeah, the blood
when they're testing
scene.
The blood. That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Well, that's the highlight of the movie. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, the tension buildup was great, and it was great because like he was heating up the wire, and I guess you didn't really know how the bad blood was supposed to react.
Right.
He's going through each sample. And it, he scrapes it through the blood, and it just gives this little sizzle. And we're like, okay, is that what's supposed to happen? Is that not? Is that normal blood? And then it gets to the contaminated blood, and as soon as he touches it to the blood, it just like shrieks and like pops out of the petri dish onto the floor, and the blood is like retreating. I'm like, I was not expecting that at all.
Palmer.
To happen.
That guy, he was like the one that was like the Vietnam looking guy where he.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
As soon as that happens, yeah, I did not see that. And as soon as that happens, Palmer starts like doing his like vibration, turning into the thing, and like I don't know.
Oh,
that
right after that, when
he's really good.
When he killed the radio guy too. Right after that, he like turns into the big alien or whatever, jumps up onto the ceiling and then falls down, and he's like fucking giant when he comes down. And he just fucking, his head splits open, which I'm thinking about the practical effects of this now. And then the rope comes out, hits the radio guys in the neck, and pulls it in and eats him head first while Kurt Russell, McCready, or whatever, is trying to get his flamethrower going. Oh, what a convenient time for it to shit the bed. But
oh, yeah.
And just that part in general. That was just like, that whole scene was just like a holy shit scene that just kind of, like, that's where... shit hits the proverbial fan right there. It was great.
Can I talk about Kurt Russell real quick? So his character, he's awesome. Like it's always nice when the main character is just like instantly likable, and he's just so cool and all that stuff. But he has this hat that is comically
I noticed the hat too.
Large. And
it's way too big.
That's his flying hat,
dude. He wears it throughout the movie, just about, and it's just, every time he flies, he has.
That's the hat he puts on when he flies the helicopter.
Dude, I started laughing. I was like, "Oh wow, that's really big," and I thought maybe that'll be it for the scene, and then he keeps pulling it out.
So over and over, he loves that hat.
Dude, it's like a sombrero.
It's a good hat.
It's so massive. I'm sorry, I had to make a comment about that thing.
Some of there were some like spot, like it falls into the same kind of horror tropey things that, that movies do. Like don't wander off by yourself. Towards the end of the movie, I was complaining about,
dude,
you guys know exactly, you guys know what it does. Like, why would anybody ever go off by themselves? You know exactly what's supposed to happen, but it's more like when they're planting the dynamite towards the end and stuff like that.
Yeah, both Cooper and Nils both go off alone by themselves and get taken by the thing when, they just leave McCready by himself. I'm like, haven't you learned at this point that you're supposed to stick together?
That felt like somebody looked at the clock and was like, whoa, 2 more characters got to be taken.
Absolutely. Yep. And they did it one after another. I'm like, what the hell? Like, that's how this thing gets you when you're alone by yourself.
Deserved an on-screen
time to take over to you.
I didn't like that he was a likable character. He was the goddamn cook, and you just killed him off screen. I get some of the characters get killed off screen, but I don't know. I thought that was kind of
I don't mind so much that the character, like, sometimes it's better when the characters get killed off screen, like, you don't know exactly what happened. But those two, especially at the end, felt a little bit cheap.
Oh, I wanted to go back to the beginning just a little bit to kind of talk about some interesting things that I've noticed just with the story. In the 1950s version, and I didn't read the book, and maybe Dave, you can talk to this, but if you checked out the book at all, but in the 1950s version, they know that there's some kind of interference going on. So there's only one camp, and they send everybody pretty much, or at least all the scientists and stuff like that, a whole group of people out to see what's causing that interference. And they discover, hey, there's something in the ground. So they land, and they're like, everybody kind of does that famous scene where they kind of go as far as they can. They put their arms out, and they realize it's a perfect circle, and it's a ship. And I think in the book and in the 1950s version, when they're trying to get the ship released because they don't know what it is, they use like this thermite and they destroy the ship. So the ship can't exist. And in the 50s version, there's a news reporter this whole time. He's like, oh my God, the greatest find of all time. And he just destroyed it, but then they're like, hey, there's a body over here. So they get the body and they bring it back to their headquarters or whatever, their camp. And obviously it melts and then shit hits the fan. I noticed the differences between the versions there, and I thought that was just interesting because the 80s version showed scenes that were just like the 50s version when they were looking at what the Norwegians were doing, but the Norwegians in the 80s version didn't destroy the ship. So in this 80s version of the movie, the Kurt Russell version, that ship is still there. They're actually able at one point in this movie go and say, holy shit, there's a ship here, and then they go and they see a little further, oh, there's a block of ice that's been carved up, and they go to the Norwegian camp and they see the melted ice. And it's just weird to see the two versions and the way they approach the stuff, because it's different, but it's the same. I didn't read the book and I didn't see the prequel, and I don't know if Eric, you saw the prequel.
Ugh.
How did that go down? The whole getting the alien.
It's just
what melted the ice, I guess, is what I want to know. Because in the 50s version, the guy had an electric blanket to keep you warm, but he didn't. He was freaked out by the alien, so he put it over the ice, and it melted the ice somehow.
It didn't even they didn't even really explain it. So in the 2011 movie, like I said, it's a prequel to this. So this whole movie is focused on what happens at the Norwegian station that we see in the 1982 movie. That's all. Because they go back to it and they go through it and they realize, they see that it's all burned out and everybody's dead. And that's kind of where this whole thing originated. So they just shoehorn so many things, like callbacks into this version of the movie. And so what they do, they just they transport the alien to their camp, and this one of the pilot guys, one of the American guys that comes in with the research team to the Norwegian station, goes into the room while they're like partying because they're celebrating because they discovered like alien life and all this stuff, and they think they're gonna get rich off of it. So this one pilot goes into like the room where the alien is being held in the ice, and before this, I should say, they take a tissue sample of the alien by drilling into the ice. So that kind of fractures the ice a little bit.
Okay. I see where
the one guy notices the ice is melting a little bit. And then he can see the aliens start like moving under the ice. And then all of a sudden it just bursts out of the ice and starts attacking everybody. So it was really dumb. There was no good payoff.
Okay.
Like I said, they just tried to make way too many callbacks to like, hey, remember this? Hey, remember when in the 1982 movie when the axe was in the door? Well, they had to show how that happened. You remember like the first burned out body that they brought back from the Norwegian camp with like the two faces?
Yeah.
They had to show how that happened.
I wouldn't mind that. That makes sense to see. I want to see that because like, what the fuck happened there? I don't mind that.
It's not.
Part of it's like the mystery of what happened there.
True. True, Dave.
It is. Part of it is the mystery. Yeah.
This whole movie's about the mystery. Like, Childs, is he infected or not? We don't know. That movie ends with a great cliffhanger mystery. Like, we don't know. And we don't know how a lot of people, like the one guy, one of the earlier deaths in the movie, he just walks out and the next thing you know, we find like his burned body. We have no idea how that guy died. You know what I'm talking about? The one scientist?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He was vigorously writing with a pencil and then he saw somebody go by and he goes out there. Next thing you know, he's toast.
Fuchs? Was that Fuchs?
And that was another one of the great scenes of the movie, though, is like when they see the dead body, they see McCready and the other crew find it, and then he looks up and he goes, "I didn't leave my cabin light on," and you know that they go out to the cabin to see what was going on, and then it goes back to the other crew that's in the station. They start locking all the doors or whatever, and who is it? The guy comes back and says that he cut the rope on McCready because he found like the shirt that was all torn through, because basically when you get taken by the thing, it shoots out all these weird tendrils or whatever, it rips your clothes. So basically like that whole scene, and then McCready, basically breaks back in through a supply room window or whatever, and he starts holding a flare next to some TNT, and he's holding everybody, I got hostage or whatever. I don't know what you want to call it, but that's like that's a super good, I guess the other super suspenseful part of the movies, where you don't know if McCready was taken, you don't know if the other guy was taken. Like that was a super good part, and then they kind of, I mean, obviously goes from there, but that was a really cool.
I like
part.
that the scientist went crazy. I like how he goes from like, with his awesome 80s technology where he sees the virus take the other cell, the cells take.
Oh yeah, that's great. Great pixel movement.
Gotta
right
love,
there.
yeah. Gotta give credit to the world they try to build. I mean, it's a cool setting and all that stuff, but sometimes technology gets kind of snuck in these 80s movies, and you're like, whoa.
But you believe him for a while, because he goes and he smashes the helicopter, he smashes the fucking ground, like the little tank transport, because he doesn't want to get out, because he's got he sees like that 80s thing that says like, humans will all die if this thing gets out. But
one question I had about that guy, Blair, I think was his name, the scientist. At that point, when he's destroying all the radio equipment, is he already infected? Like, is he already the thing at that point, or does that come later? Because at what point is he actually infected? Because like you said, it's believable when he's doing all this research and he's like, okay, I got to stop all this stuff. I got to destroy all this equipment so nobody's able to leave. But at what point does he turn? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it when he's locked up in the shack, or is it before that when he's like destroying all the equipment?
There's a couple of those too.
What is it even? How do you even know when you're turned? Because
Well, I think that's another point. I've heard that they make that point in the book, is that the people themselves don't actually know when they're turned. They're not aware of it. So I guess that's another point. Like, we don't really know exactly when everybody turns, and I guess that's kind of the fun of it, is like trying to decide who turned and when, and like trying to weed out who is not really themselves.
Part of it is like the guy that's having the heart attack. Like, I don't know when he turned or whatever, but like, at some point he starts having a heart attack or whatever.
It takes time. I think it's slow.
Yeah.
There's a scene where the doctor, he's examining the body. He's doing the autopsy. There's a scene, and I saw this on YouTube, because they were talking about they were trying to explain when did people get turned, in what order did they go from human form to being taken over. And their prediction was that there's a scene where the doctor uses just like a long Q-tip kind of thing, and he's poking it and he's showing people, and then when he's talking to people, he puts it up to his mouth and he taps on his lip, and all you need is one little thing.
Any contamination.
So little by little over time, the theory was that it was slowly taking him over and then replacing him on a race. But it was small, so it took some time.
That's
but
a cool little thing.
So that was, I'm like, that makes sense of why it took so long when he was locked up in solitary. But then again, and also, I'm doing research while we're talking about this. That's the same actor who did the Diabetes commercial. I did not know that.
Yeah, Wilford Brimley.
He just died last year.
Yeah, I didn't.
He was in Cocoon.
I'm just learning that right now. But yeah, he was in Cocoon, which is a great movie I haven't seen in like 30 years.
The rules of how people are turned are kind of inconsistent. Like, I don't know. There's some points where they're like the person's all wrapped up in tentacles, and
like
then
George,
the next point,
he's like the first kill that we see, because he's got his ass to the dead body, and he's just like, let me get a couple more things in here. I'm like, okay, as in, let me die in this scene, and then the guy leaves, and then he comes back, and he's just like shirtless and
Yep. And then after that, he's outside.
Oh, that was crazy.
For some reason, he has clothes back on, but he's like half transformed. He's still got like the claw hands. So I just don't know what So like you can get contaminated from like one drop of blood, or you can get
I think if it's big and it finds you, it can do it quicker. But I think if it's on
like a faster process. Okay.
Yeah, if it like sneezed in somebody's mouth and all those germs were in you, it would slowly start taking over. That's disgusting. But
another point that I heard while I was doing research for this too is that when they're doing the blood test, they all use the same scalpel. So how are they not all like cross-contaminating each other?
Yeah, you're supposed
to
think that like the burning of it cleanses it, but
they're using the same scalpel. They don't wipe the scalpel off after they take it across their fingers. They just pass it down to the next person.
Sorry. Yeah,
they wipe it off on their shirt. Yeah. That's gross.
Yeah, that's right. They're using the same scalpel. Really I was thinking about the copper wire that he's using. Okay. Well, yeah, that's a good point. I'm sure there's a couple holes if you look for it. Whatever, man. Like, if you look in the beginning of the movie, the dog starts walking around the camp while...
I do have to say that dog was a really good actor.
I know. Like, how did it go from, like, looking in one room to looking
very well trained.
Very well trained. Yeah. I'm sure with the audio turned off and, like, you heard the real audio of the recording, they're probably, hey, and the other goes, hey, and they're just trying to get the dog's attention.
From the beginning, I was thrown off by like thinking that the dog, like the guy that was like the dog catcher, the dog watcher or whatever, like that he was infected because
Clark.
They said that,
Poor
he
Clark.
was alone
He's
with
murdered
dogs
by
or
our
whatever.
hero of the movie. He's straight up shot in the forehead.
Yeah, he tries to stop McCready at one point. McCready just turns around and blasts him right in the face. And
you could have shot him in the arm with that,
right?
Dude, shot him. You know what you're doing with the gun.
Right in the eye.
Yeah, he
Childs calls him out. It's like you shot him. Like he was human.
He was not
murdered him. Yeah,
was not infected at all. So I felt bad for that guy because they lead you to believe that he is infected just by from Wilford Brimley, Dr. Blair saying, because he kind of figures out that it doesn't take long. All you need to do is be alone with this thing for a little bit and you can get infected. So that's I felt bad for the guy.
I have to continue. I have to bring up more gripes about the 2011 prequel.
Please.
It felt, and it didn't feel as much like a prequel. It felt more like a reboot, because they use like literally all of the same tricks and like rehash everything that they did in the 1982 version. Like they do the blood. They were gonna do the blood test. You know how in the 1982 version all the blood samples get destroyed. In the
Dr.
2011
Blair cut him, I think.
Right. In the 2011 version, they were going to do a blood test, but for some reason, all the lab equipment got destroyed. So they couldn't do the blood test. So instead of doing the like blood burning that they did in the 1982 version, they figured out that the thing can't replicate inorganic material. So what they were doing was looking in people's mouths to see if they had metal fillings, and if they had metal fillings, that meant they were human. But if they didn't, that meant they were.
All right, that's smart.
Didn't mean
that.
That didn't mean they were necessarily not human. It just meant that they couldn't be ruled out yet.
What if I just have nice teeth? Maybe
exactly. That was actually brought up in the movie too. But like the whole thing where McCready couldn't get the flamethrower to light when the thing was coming at him. They did the same thing in the other movie. Like there's just so many things that they just kind of copied and pasted into the prequel that just really fell flat.
Well, how does the thing recreate human hair? It's just like, at what point do you just kind of let some of the rules?
No, it was a dog.
Right.
So at a certain point,
how do you get fur? I mean, it's dead cells that like is pushed out of your body over time. That's what hair is. I understand it's an alien. It's like it could do anything. It's replicating. Like that's crazy. Like you accept that. But I'm just
it's on a cellular level. Like hair, there's.
I was gonna say
cells.
I'm assuming it's like a parasite of some kind, where it just ingests your body, takes it over, and then just spits it back out.
They show in the prequel like a microscopic, like you can see the infected cells, and then it takes over the healthy cells, and then like imitates it, like it does like a perfect copy of the normal cells. So it does it on like a cellular level.
Pixel graphics.
You know, it's funny. If the one doctor, not the diabetes doctor, but the other doctor, I think Dr. Copper maybe, he has a nose ring. I didn't even notice it until like just
I did notice that too. Like halfway through the movie.
Yeah, and I'm like, when did he get a fucking nose ring? I thought I would have noticed that before. I'm like, he's very ahead of his. That's very modern.
He got his PhD in the 70s when things were a wilder time. So. I don't know. For the 80s though, having a nose ring though, that's kind of.
I know. I thought that was cool. They actually go in the spaceship in the 2011 version, which I don't know. It was just bad. Because, like, you know how in the 1982 version, the spaceship is all, like, damaged and stuff?
Yeah.
When they discover it.
Yeah, they just, yeah.
It's, at first, when they discover it in the prequel version, it's in, like, pristine condition. But in, like, the final scene of the movie, like, they have to use, like, a grenade to blow up the thing that's chasing them or whatever. And then that's what wrecks the ship. Which doesn't really make sense because the ship crash landed in the first place, so the ship should be wrecked anyways.
It's like it's like explaining something that you didn't want to explain.
Crash landed in the snow.
Yeah, exactly. That's what that whole movie was. Is it's
because like, let the people.
They had to explain every single little detail.
Yeah,
you know?
Some movies just don't need a prequel or a sequel.
Exactly. It was a very unnecessary movie.
Like in Star Wars, when they went to try and go back and explain how the Force works. Mm-hmm. Like, no, it's just the fucking Force.
It's magic.
Just like let it be
magic.
And let things be the way they are. So, you don't have to go back and like flesh out the universe and stuff like that. Just, have some mystery to things. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I guess if we want to get towards the end of the movie, I don't know. I thought like some of the way it ended where, I guess it's MacReady and the two other guys that get picked off eventually. And then it's basically just MacReady by himself, just like blowing up the whole fucking base. When they eventually know that like, the radios are out, all our travel is out. Like there's no fucking way we're getting out of here. We're going to die here. We just have to basically
movie people can just die.
Not let it die.
Just like one person can just decide that they're all going to die and nobody like cries or freaks out or like proposes another idea. It's always a movie thing. They did that in Prometheus. They were like at the very end of that movie, I think it's Idris Elba's character. I think he's the pilot. He's just like, nope, we're going to stop this alien from leaving. We're going to sacrifice ourselves and blow it up. And nobody says anything. They're like, all right, we're going to die now. Fate. Could you imagine just spending like your whole life and then somebody just next to you is like, and then we're going to die. And like, all right. And then when he proposed, we're going to blow this place up, they all just like look at him like, okay. But I'm like, I get it.
You got to know you're not getting out of there.
But nobody like freaking cries a little bit and says like, oh my God, I wish I could have seen my wife one more time. Or I wish something, nobody, there's just like,
I was gonna say every character wants to be a hero, yeah,
I don't know that. I mean,
true.
It's just something I just see in movies where like you got to speed things up and you can't have people like getting in the way, pushing, unless it's for the plot. But I don't know. They're like, all right, we're gonna blow this place up. Like, wow, can we do it in another way? If anything.
Well, at the end, it was weird because, at some point, I don't even remember. Childs disappears, like he runs out of the
He thinks he saw the doctor and he leaves his
But then where was post. He at, like in between all that time, and then he just reappears.
He said he got lost in the storm.
Yeah.
When he returns at the very end, he goes, "Where'd you go, Childs?" And he goes, "I thought I saw the doctor and I ran after him and I got lost in the storm." But the thing is, the thing recreates people with the identical clothes that they were last wearing. And if you look at what Childs is wearing the last time we see him, he's wearing kind of black and blue or whatever, I think. And then in the scene that he returns at the end after the monster's been killed, he's wearing different clothes.
Is it implied that he's turned then?
You don't see his breath, really. It's hard to see his breath.
Okay.
And that's like the big giveaway.
Interesting.
I thought at the end that I thought that MacReady was gonna pull some shit and that he was dead. I don't know. I thought Childs was the thing at the end.
I'm either or. I think that's what makes it awesome is that you don't know, and it doesn't really matter.
Ambiguous.
According to Kurt Russell,
yeah.
We're gonna die anyways. We're gonna freeze to death or whatever. Because, but the thing doesn't like heat, and some speculate that Kurt Russell doesn't really drink when he has it, and he's just holding kerosene, waiting to see if the thing shows up. And of course, it does as Child's, and he hands it over to him to drink from, and it's not really booze; it's kerosene. He's gonna kill it, but
oh, really?
I had that thought.
He doesn't sip out of it.
When he handed it over, I'm like, I wonder if that's really alcohol.
But he's also trying to drink the whole time, and he never can because of all the
true.
activity.
That is true.
But that's a good movie because you can speculate it to this day and still analyze and question, and nobody really knows. Yeah. I think that's a well-crafted
I do like
movie.
that. Not all the questions are answered. There's still a lot of mystery to it, which I liked. You can speculate on your own. That's what makes it fun about it. Fun to talk about.
Well, let's just say they had, like, before the thing showed up, they had a pretty sweet setup in Antarctica. They had, like, pool tables.
Oh, hell yeah.
And a full stocked bar and arcade machines and, like, just, full kitchen and all that shit. Like, good on them for being all set up in Antarctica. Like, fuck yeah.
I saw in the book that they even have, like, 2 cows or something like that and a boatload of dogs. Mm-hmm. They had, like, a ton of animals. Hey, also, the doctor at the end, how long is he in there? 2 days? In that little
shack or whatever
that they lock him in?
I thought it was
where he builds the UFO.
Dr. Blair's. Yeah, they go in there like, oh, he's been busy. Like, goddamn right he's been busy. And even if he is the alien, he dug out a very big underground base.
That's true.
I just understand. Where did he put the snow? How did he get it out?
And he was using helicopter parts to build the spacecraft. And, like, how did he get out to grab the helicopter parts to build said thing?
Maybe I was dumb because I just assumed that tunnel was already there and he was just going down there and building his little spaceship. But I never thought that he actually dug that out himself. I don't know why.
He ripped the floor, the panels off the floor, off the ground, and then started digging. But where the hell?
Yeah, I don't know.
Did the snow go? And
exactly.
And how long did he have? I thought he only had like 2 days. And I don't know. Time's kind of hard in this movie. It's one of those movies that you kind of just got to go for the ride. It's a tight movie. It's a fun movie. It's got everything you pretty much want, especially out of a classic that you hear so many things about. But maybe this is just don't look at the details too much.
I like movies that take place in one like confined location because you really get to know, the station and everything and the ins and outs and all the different rooms and everything of the location. It just feels claustrophobic, and I don't know, it almost feels cozy in a way too because you get to know the ins and outs of the research station and everything. But I just thought that was cool. I wanted to bring that up.
I'm a sucker for that, where the setting is the whole movie is in one spot,
and there's a lot of comparisons you can draw to like Alien to like in the Nostromo and everything.
Even like The Shining.
It's just like an iconic setting. Yeah. Yep.
With The Shining.
The hotel.
Yeah. You're like the characters in the movie. You're just like over and over. You kind of see the same thing, but oh wait, something's different.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. No, overall, I think it was a cool movie. It's just like the mystery of it, and like I didn't think of it more of a horror movie. I thought of more of a suspense kind of movie where like you don't know who's who and that kind of shit. So I don't really get in on too much of the horror gore movies or whatever, but I thought this one was a super cool look back. Everything held up really well as far as like the practical effects. Like obviously some parts of it you see are kind of like, yeah, I can tell that's a fucking model, like stuff like that. But like, I don't know. Overall, I think it was a super cool movie.
The effects in this movie, the practical effects, look 10,000 times better than the shitty CGI they had in the 2011
Nice.
Oh, I've always thought this is the greatest practical effects we have ever seen.
Really?
Yeah,
good.
dude.
Whoa.
It's spectacular. What else could be better?
Jurassic
Star
Park?
Wars?
Like,
Jurassic Park? Dinosaurs?
Jurassic Park too. But there was CGI. It was CG. It was mixed CG.
It was like half and half, but like some of those things, like you see the Triceratops on the ground and shit like that. Like,
Dude, I personally think though that this movie just shows you what you can do with practical effects I've never seen. Like where skin is like a dinosaur head popping through. It's like, dude, go back and watch Jurassic Park. You can tell when it's a fake dinosaur.
Yeah,
the heads and the bodies are very stiff. But in this movie, I was like, wow, what if they got the shot wrong? They just wasted like weeks of work. I feel because stuff is ripping, and that's why I had to rewind some of these scenes. I'm like, I thought there was
a lot of gloopiness in this movie. A lot of
I couldn't get over
wet,
the cutting,
squishy
wet
noises,
the pulling,
squishy,
a lot of squishing.
Yeah. I just never seen anything like that.
Like the one part
Really,
part I thought about specifically for that is like when he's doing the blood test, and just the camera angle on Kurt Russell is pointed at such an angle where like he's holding up the petri dish and dipping it in, and like the camera angles where it's like hiding part of his arm, where like so that something could like get pushed up his arm and out of the petri dish, where just like specifically the camera angle is, you know, hiding some of the practical effects and stuff like that, where it's used to build suspense, but at the same time, if you're not paying attention, like you would never notice something like that.
Cameron's nasty with the camera. He is a very smart man. I mean, he wrote the music to Halloween, right? He's a very smart...
Carpenter, you mean?
Huh?
Carpenter, you mean?
What'd I say?
You said Cameron. Sorry.
Carpenter. Yeah.
Excuse you.
I saw Cameron. Oh, no. I mean, great director as well. Sorry. Carpenter is the man. He is so talented, and he knows what he's doing with the camera. And I love how he directed this movie. He got really cool shots. Like that shot, Dave, is smart because it also gives you the scare factor because you're really just lost in the moment. But he's also trying to conceal this thing because he's doing practical effects, and I just think he doesn't get to rely on CG. He's like, we'll just post that shit in and all that stuff. He's just got really cool shots in this movie, and the slow movement, kind of like Alien, right, Eric? What you're saying is it kind of is like that, where you're slowly walking through the hallway like you are one of the characters, and it really pulls you in. And when the scary scenes happen, it's like, oh shit, and everything else is out pretty slow moving. And his camera work was great, especially the beautiful outside shots too, and shooting in the dark, shooting with fire, shooting all that stuff. I thought it was
in the snow.
Yeah, it must have been tough.
A lot of
one
thing that threw me off too, I don't know, just a random stupid gripe that nobody probably pays attention to, but it's in Antarctica and dudes are going outside with like without hats and without gloves and stuff like that. Like that, I don't know. It's just me thinking of how fucking cold it probably is down there, but I don't know. I don't think guys should be Kurt Russell shouldn't be going outside with his crazy ass fucking giant Dumb and Dumber cowboy hat. When he should be wearing a fucking beanie to keep his ears warm. He's wearing a goddamn giant cowboy hat in his helicopter.
I'm telling you, watch The Terror, because they have to deal with the frigid snow, but it takes place in the North Pole, and it's how they deal with that, Dave, is so cool. So I don't know, if you really want to see something that's like slow pace that's kind of like the thing, I would suggest you check out The Terror. But anywho, yeah, I'm with you on that. I was like, get inside or close the door. Oh, real quick.
Oh yeah,
it's so cold out.
So real quick, the 1950s version is not scary, and I'm not saying because it was made in 1951. It's not scary at all to me, and I think they tried to make a comedy. So there's a scene in the beginning when the guys are all kind of hanging out at this base and like, hey, there's a disturbance going on, and we want to send you into this camp to investigate. And the guy's like, okay, whatever. So, but when he goes to the general's room, it's like down in the Antarctic, and as soon as he opens the door, the general's like, shut the door, and it's like, wow, like he just opened the door, right? And then somebody else comes in a second later, or like a few seconds later, and the general's like, and he's like, shut the door, and it's just like the timing is really funny because like these people just walked in and you got somebody yelling, close the door. And I thought that was pretty funny. And then I noticed that this movie does something that you don't see in movies to this day. And this movie was made in 1951, where it is when people talk and somebody says something and they get cut off and there's overlapping in dialogue. And it is something that you never see. Everything's conveniently
that's true. Yeah.
played. The main character always parks in front of the main door. Like, people get there, they don't have to hit red lights unless it's for the plot. Everything's kind of working around that person, like, whatever. But Yeah, dude, this movie, I was just really impressed that people will say something and then it's like, well, and then they'll just get cut off and it doesn't go anywhere and it's sloppy. And I gotta say, I don't know if you guys are gonna check out the 1951 version. It's free on like archive.org or whatever, but
nope.
Yeah, I can watch
you shared a little bit of the Discord version, and I flipped through some of like the scenes in it, and I'm like, yeah,
I'm weird.
It reminded me of being in like college film studies, and I'm like,
oh, okay, yeah, I'm a sucker for like old movies these days. So, but anyways, yeah. So, but I just want to kind of point out that it was more of a comedy. Like, there's another scene where like there's this journalist, and the kind of one of the first times the humans encounter the thing in this old movie. He's like, all right, guys, we're going to open the door, see if the monster's still in that room. He's like, all right. He's like, when you do, they're going to try and kill it, and he's going to try and take a shot. And they don't know if it's in this room or not. But as soon as they open the door, the thing's like right there and starts swinging at them. So instantly, they just close the door. And then he's like, all right, like, did you get the shot, Scotty? And he's like, no. And he's like, all right. Because he's like, holy shit, that scared the fuck out of all of us. And he's like, you want me to open it again? He's like, no, don't open it again. And it's just like, wow, this movie's like, it's like 7 years old. It's literally 70 years old, and it's kind of making me chuckle a little bit. So I don't know. I'm done pushing that movie, but it's actually better than I thought it was going to be. I was actually impressed with it. So
another random thing. They're really on top of it with the fire extinguishers in this movie. So when they burn down the first dog version of the thing, they're instantly in there with the fire extinguishers putting it out. Like, let that puppy burn a little longer.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Like, they set him on fire and then instantly put him out. I'm like, give them time to burn down a little bit, you know? And like, I don't know why they always have fire extinguishers. Like when the Norwegians got there first with the helicopter and they accidentally blew it up, like they're in there with the fire extinguishers. Like, is putting that fire out really like your first concern right now?
Yeah,
like,
you're in the Antarctic.
You're gonna hurt anything?
Like, everything is covered in snow. Like, it'll put itself out. Don't worry, it'll be fine. So.
Yeah.
One other thing I just
thought that was funny,
odd, but I don't know if it's really odd, but like, there's no women in the Antarctic. Like, it's just a bunch of dudes. It is a giant.
There's no women in this movie at all.
Giant sausage fest.
So in the 1951 version, there are women.
Oh.
And yeah, and I noticed that this one, they don't have women. And I think in the book, there's like a lot of people. So this one, they specifically went just dudes.
Which,
very interesting. Yeah.
I mean, the movie was fine as it was, but I just thought that was interesting to point out.
The quote unquote main character in the 2011 version is a woman. And she, like, I don't know. They treat her character kind of shitty. Like,
do they speak Norwegian in the 2011 version?
Well, she's like a scientist or she's a paleontologist. That's why they bring her down to the Antarctic.
How convenient.
Right. Because they want her to examine this like creature and tell them, you know, what it is and about its biology and stuff. And I don't know. They just like talk down to her and undermine her and act like she's dumb and all this stuff. So.
I was gonna say, why would you ever need a paleontologist in Antarctica? Like, that's a very convenient thing to happen.
Yeah, because they were excavating the creature from the ice. They wanted a paleontologist there. But yeah, like, I would say if you're at all interested in the 2011 movie, I mean, it's not long. It's about the same length as this one, the 1982 version. It's worth. I mean, I don't want to say that it's worth a watch, but if you're curious about it, I would say go for it.
Like, be careful with your recommendations. The internet's going to hold you to those. the internet remembers.
It's just, I don't know. I don't know if I want to say I enjoyed some of it, like some of the callbacks, but it just felt too ham-fisted. Like,
it's tough.
Hey, remember this? Story. Hey, remember this? Yeah, exactly.
Maybe watch the 82 version first, and if that holds your interest, then jump to the 2011 version. I can see that.
That's exactly what I did. So I would say, if you are going to do it, if you haven't seen either of them, I would say watch the 1982 version first, and then watch the 2011 version. Because that's what I did, because I was really into the, you know, I just wanted to keep getting more into this universe, so I just kept going on the 2011 version. And that's probably the only way that I would have watched it, is back to back. because standalone, I probably wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
So that's the thing. That's the thing about the thing.
That thing you do.
There you go.
That is the thing.
I have that song stuck in my head all week after watching this movie.
Oh, that's funny.
It's just like a happy 50s band singing about the thing. I don't know.
Multiple things. There's a Thing comic book too, if you're interested.
Is there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's a Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing.
There's a thing. There's a thing in the Fantastic Four. There's things everywhere. You know.
We were talking about
do what you want to do.
We were talking about movies that would make good video games on 2 episodes ago. This one, they already made a Thing video game, but I feel like this deserves like a modern
Among Us, right?
A modern take. Yeah,
like Among Us is what I thought about when I was watching this.
I mean, that's heavily inspired, but I'm thinking like a Alien Isolation type, like first
100%.
person or third person, like 3D whatever horror thriller game.
And it could be like procedurally generated so that every time you play it, it's different so that you never know who is infected. You just come up with really cool characters and just kind of flesh them out and just, that'd be cool.
I think that'd be really good. Like a, I don't know, kind of like a detective game almost, like trying to figure out who is the thing, who is infected, who's turned. I don't know. I think it deserves a modern interpretation in video game form.
All right. Well, that's all right. I think we're done.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Okay. Well, yeah, watch that movie. It's great. It's definitely worthy of the title of a classic from the 80s. And it's not too scary. It's a little gross with the gore. Otherwise, it's a fun ride.
Perfect for getting in the Halloween mood, little horror appetizer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and real quick, I love horror movies, but I also know that a lot of them are bad. Do you guys like horror movies?
Yeah, I like horror movies.
It depends on the kind of the horror movie. I don't know. Like something like this, I really liked. I'm more of a suspense kind of, and less of a horror stuff.
Not slasher or anything like that, but yeah, like scary stuff. Okay, cool.
I dabble, but
all right. Well, yeah, I'm excited to get into Halloween. I'm not the biggest Halloween fan, but I think some of the content that we'll be getting into is really fun. So, but yeah, that was the thing. So we got that one in, and I had a blast watching it. It was so cool to watch that one. So let's take a break, and then we're gonna come back. I got a new game that we're gonna play. So, all right, we'll be right back. We have returned, and it's game time, and I've got a new game. I made it up, and I think it's kind of fun. I'm hoping that it comes out fun, but yeah, it's called Hey, Who Said That?
Hey,
and all I'm asking is for Eric and Dave, for you guys to kind of play by the rules of the first one to shout their name gets to make a guess, and all I'm asking really for is the movie.
So you need movie, not character.
Exactly. Technically, it's hey, what movie were they saying that in? But hey, who said that? It's cooler. But yeah, I'm more looking for the movie. If you can give me the character, whatever. But it's not just one character. It's conversations.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna go a monologue route, but I'm not really doing that. So yeah, just give me the movie. Otherwise,
okay.
that's it. Yeah. So just tell me the movie. I will start reading. I've got some scripts. Movie scripts in front of me. So the first to get 3 right wins. All you gotta do is say your name. Okay?
Got it.
Fire away.
All right. I feel like this one's fairly easy, so good luck, gentlemen.
That's what you think.
You can leave if you want. I won't try to stop you, but you won't survive out there. You don't know what to do, where to go. I have a map. Blank. I've watched you your whole life. I saw you take your first steps, your first word, your first kiss.
Dave.
I know you bet.
Truman Show?
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow, I haven't seen that one in a while.
I haven't seen that one in a while, but that's immediately what I thought of when you said.
Okay,
I've watched you your whole life.
Yep.
First Steps.
I knew it sounded familiar. Yep.
Good movie though. I haven't seen that in ages.
Good job.
Yeah, it holds up. I saw it a couple years ago. I'm like, man, this movie is so good. All right, this one's gonna be fun but interesting. I'm hoping both of you seen this. I think so.
You better hope so, or else it's gonna be a short question.
Actually, yeah. Hold on a second. Let me go to this one. Ready? Blank. Are you still there? I wouldn't think about leaving, Blank, unless you want to open up the front door. I'm afraid not. But you have me at a loss. You know my name, but who are you? Just another American who saw too many movies as a child?
Dave.
Another orphan?
Dave. That's Die Hard.
Oh, wow.
Wow, man.
Boom. I know when Hans Gruber is talking to John McClane. Come on.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's a walkie-talkie conversation right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I should have known that.
Yep. All right.
To be fair, I've seen Die Hard once. You've seen it like 100,000 times.
Yeah. I got you there.
Oh boy, I want to help you out, Eric. Oh man, I don't know. Okay, all right, we'll just go with. Oh man, all right, yeah. I mean,
Let's do it.
Okay, you've seen this one. I know you've seen this, so just good luck. Okay, ready? Hello, beautiful. You must be Blank Squeeze, and you are beautiful. You look nervous. It's the scars, isn't it? Wanna know how I got them? I had a wife.
Is it The Dark Knight?
You got it. Woo!
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good pull right there.
The scars.
Yep.
That gave me the hint.
Yep.
You're reading these perfectly like the characters read them in the movie.
I'm trying to.
I was like, Heath Ledger was in the room with me.
There's a little. Okay. There's a theme here. I don't know if you guys have picked up on it yet, but anyways, okay. Here's the next one. So it's 2-1. Dave's got 2. Eric's got 1. Eric needs to get at least 1 to stay alive. Here we go. As you can see, we've had our eye on you for some time, Blank.
Dave.
Eric. Who was it?
Wow.
Who was it?
It was definitely Dave.
Okay. All right. Is it The Matrix?
It's The Matrix.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
I knew
it. Yes. Yeah.
I knew The Matrix was coming.
That's a Morpheus quote there.
The theme was when the main hero, like the hero and the antagonist meet.
Oh.
So
okay.
Truman
That's
is
cool.
when he actually talked. Yeah. And then the last one was The Dark Knight, when he actually introduces himself to like Bruce Wayne and all those guys, Dent and all them stuff. So I thought that was cool. And then this one, obviously, Agent Smith meets Neo.
Let's do the other ones.
But let's just use the other 2 just because it's fun. So okay, ready? All right. No, forget it. It's too risky. I'm through doing that shit. You always say that. The same thing every time. Never again. I'm through. Too dangerous. I know that's what I always say. I'm always right too. But you forget about it in a day or 2. Well, yeah, the days of me forgetting it are over, and the days of me remembering it have just begun. When you go on like this, you know what you sound like? You sound like a sensible fucking man. This is what I sound like.
Is this Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? No,
you sound like a duck.
Okay, it sounded like that.
Quack, 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 quack. Well, take heart, because you're never going to have to hear it again. Because since I'm never going to do it again, you're never going to have to hear me quack about it. How I'm never going to do it again. After tonight? Correct. I got it all tonight to quack. Can I get somebody any more coffee? Oh, yes, thank you. I'm doing fine. I mean, the way it is now, you're taking the same fucking risk as when you rob a bank. You take more of a risk. Banks are easier. Federal banks aren't supposed to stop you.
I think I know what it is.
Go ahead.
Is it Heat?
Nope.
No?
I heard about this guy, walked into a federal bank with a portable phone, handed the phone to the teller. The guy on the other end of the phone said, "Why? We got this guy's little girl, and if you don't give him all your money, we're going to kill her. Did it work? Fucking A, it worked. That's what I'm talking about. Knucklehead walks into a bank with a telephone, not a pistol, not a shotgun, but a fucking phone. Cleans the place out.
Dave.
And they don't lift a fucking finger.
Is this a Reservoir Dogs quote?
Man, you guys are getting so close.
No.
Did they hurt the little girl? I don't know. There probably never was a little girl. The point of the story isn't the little girl. The point of the story is they robbed the bank with a telephone. You want to rob banks.
I don't think I've seen this movie.
I'm not saying I want to rob banks. I'm just illustrating that if we did, it would be easier than what we've been doing.
Is it a Tarantino movie?
Yes.
Is it Pulp Fiction?
It's the opening scene of Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
See, I was gonna say that, but I couldn't place who was talking. Is that Bunny and the other guy talking?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And
then the last
that's a good one
right here. Yep. That one kind of broke the rules at that point, but they kind of meet like Jules and all that stuff at the diner. So
yeah.
I don't know. I just like the idea of characters kind of meeting. Anyways, and this is the last one, and then we'll end the episode. Okay, ready? All right. So real quick, we tried to do the last one, and it was The Usual Suspects, and I'll spare everybody in the edit that I just read, like, I feel like half the movie.
Brandon read 5 minutes of a script.
That was a lot of a script.
Yeah, it's a great movie, The Usual Suspect. Yeah, I read the scene where they're all in captivity, kind of poking at each other, and it's a great movie.
Add it to the list.
Okay, well, good thing. Yeah, I had no idea that you guys didn't do that. But anyways, congratulations, Dave, on winning that game. It was fun. It was different. So yeah, there you go. But we'll be back. Star Wars Visions just came out, so we're starting to watch some of those. We're gonna have an episode on that next, right? Is that what we're doing next?
Fuck yeah.
Okay. So there you go.
Ready.
All right, that was the Thing episode. Thanks everybody for listening and playing along with us at the end. Follow us on social. You know what to do. I'm out of here. What about you guys?
Peace out.
Yep, I'm out of here. I'm going to bed.
Bedtime. All right. See you.
See ya.
Later.